When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle. Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish,
the podcast with an itch on its prostate.
Oh. Well, you've plenty of options for getting it scratched today.
Scratch your itch tonight. Tonight only.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today, happy 400th episode, Kyle.
Happy birthday. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Pop, pop. For those of you who've joined us on the live stream, we're on a live stream. So enjoy us live. Don't injure me or any of our guests.
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, I'm edging the champagne bottle so good.
Yeah! Yay! By the way, this is the time when we have to obligatorily, is that a word?
Yeah.
Ask, can you hear us? Can everybody hear us out there in Math Magic Land? Yeah. We've done 400 episodes, Kyle.
That's so many episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Per usual, if you're new to all of this, we do a Q&A every episode that's a multiple of 50. So having gotten through this last stretch of 50, we're ready to do it again. Mm-hmm. We have been asking listeners for questions for a few weeks, and we've got like reams of paper worth of questions.
Stacks of questions.
Yeah. But first... Let's just hang out.
Oh, how have you been, Mike? What's been going on?
I'm going to have some of these bubbles.
Okay.
It's Prosecco.
Yeah.
Oh. I got it from the gas station, so I'm sure it's delicious.
High quality.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Only the nicest stuff.
Only the classiest for gayish.
Yeah, okay. I think that's enough.
Okay.
So are you ready for the news?
Yeah.
Great. Here's the news. Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News. Great. I'm assuming the new song just played. I didn't hook up our monitor correctly, so that's fine. Crushing it already, Kyle.
We're doing so good. We've done 400 episodes of this. We know what we're doing.
We're just phoning it in at this point. News the first. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
News the first. So, Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, has been declared a new emergency by the World Health Organization.
I saw this and I was like, oh, do we have to do this again?
Well, that's the thing. So 2 years ago in 2022, when everybody was all worried about it and got their shots on the arm and blah, 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 that was a global outbreak of Clade 2 Mpox, which, by the way, quick aside, it's not called monkeypox anymore because it originated in Africa, and there are people who make associations like they are backward and black people are monkeys. Like, it's racist. That's why, that's why.
Yeah.
Like,
it's racist.
So stop. Just say Mpox. I know it's dumb. They should have gone with a better name.
There's no marketing team for Mpox that's been coming up with a great, amazing name for it.
Well, it reminds me of when like Future Farmers of America, or FFA, at some point, it was like in the 90s, I think, they said it just means FFA. Like, it's just FFA now. It doesn't stand for anything. Like, well, wait, I remember what it fucking stands for. You are bad at this. So Mpox. Yeah. Anyway, so the problem is that there has been a huge uptick of Clade 1 Mpox in Africa, Central and West Africa, but unfortunately, it has for sure busted out. There's a new confirmed case in Sweden, and according to the Advocate, it has definitely made it to Europe, and then according to Pink News, doctors in the UK have said that this new strain of Mpox is, quote, almost certainly in the UK.
Oh man, we're gonna get it soon then.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Is there a vaccination for it?
It's the same vaccine as before, I understand. There are a couple of other options too, but that's the Genea vaccine, which also works for smallpox, which we basically eradicated. But yeah, There's a vaccine. They say that one dose of the vaccine gives you a 66% protection and 2 doses gives you an 80-something% protection. And it's slightly lower than that for this new strain, but still quite good. If you have not been vaccinated at all, you absolutely should. And you should definitely talk to your doctor about whether revaccination is appropriate given your circumstances.
Yeah, talk to your doctor after listening to this. Don't rely on us for all your medical information.
Oh, yeah. Or any.
Or any
medical information at all, ever.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, that's Mpox. News the second?
Yeah.
Great. So this is crazy. So in an interview with ABC News on Sunday, J.D. Vance, Republican vice presidential candidate, dickbag fuckface asshole, J.D. Vance, he claimed that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who is the Democratic vice presidential candidate running with Kamala Harris, that he, as Minnesota governor, signed a bill that allowed the state to kidnap trans children if their parents did not approve of their transition.
What? Crazy if true.
Yeah. Crazy if true. The bill that he referenced actually provides refuge for trans youth and their parents fleeing unsafe states where their care is criminalized. So it was, if you get kicked out of Kansas, come to Minnesota, trans families, it'll be fine.
That's beautiful.
But this is somehow getting turned into... Facts don't matter anymore. Nobody gives a fuck what anybody actually said anymore. Just say any old crazy fucking lie bullshit you want to if it makes points.
The Donald Trump effect.
Sluts.
Couch fuckers.
Couch fuckers indeed. Yeah, weird couch fuckers. So he sat down with This Week co-anchor Jonathan Karl, who said, quote, Trump said that Tim Walz signed a letter letting the state kidnap children to change their gender, allowing pedophiles to be exempt from crimes. This is not true. This is not remotely true. Vance said, quote, what President Trump said, John, is that Tim Walz has supported taking children from their parents if the parents don't consent to gender reassignment. That is crazy. Tim Walz gets on his high horse about mind your own damn business. One way of minding your own damn business, John, is to not try to take my children away from me. Karl replied, quote, he has not signed a law allowing the state to kidnap children to change their sexual identity. Vance said, well, what I just explained to you, I would describe as kidnapping. And Karl said, that's crazy. Come on. I love this. Nobody ever pushes back, but he pushed back. That's crazy. Come on. The claim that HF 146, also known as the Trans Refuge Law, would allow the state to kidnap children stems from a deliberately misleading interpretation of the bill. Terry Schilling, president of the American Principles Project and director of millions of dollars in anti-trans ads targeting Democrats, pointed to a section of the bill stating that the state can take jurisdiction if a child is present in the state and has been unable to obtain gender-affirming health care. Deliberate misinterpretations of this clause is the primary source of false claims about the Minnesota law.
But no one cares about the entire explanation. All they hear is like kidnapping trans kids, and then you're done. Like you can't be like, well, let me clarify according to the bill. Like they just turn off then.
Yeah.
They just hear what they heard.
Absolutely. And the dangerous horseshit dramatic narrative on the right is that we're trying to force kids to be trans.
Right.
That Democrats want to steal your children and trans them. Mm-hmm. And it's just so fucking dangerous and horse shit. And I don't know why we can't round people up and send them to jail and, I don't know, forcibly trans them. No, that's not what I want. What do I want? I want them to be punished for making shit up because it's harmful.
Yeah. You shouldn't be able to lie this blatantly. We have truth in marketing where if a marketing company if a company lies in their marketing about the qualities of a certain product, they can get sued and owe people money for damages and stuff like that. That should happen for political campaigns as well.
I agree, Kyle. Let's run the world.
Who run the world?
Gayish. Okay, last one. News the last, and then we can get to the Q's and A them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Erin Wright tried to check in for her recent American Airlines flight that she learned she had... It was only after Erin Wright tried to check in for her recent American Airlines flight that she learned she had been banned from flying. She's a TikToker, and she'd first tried to check in on her phone after a 2-hour drive to the Albuquerque airport to catch a flight to her sister's bachelorette party, but instead was met with an error message. Because that had never happened before, she assumed it was just glitching and instead went to a kiosk. After entering her information, she was met with another error, which she also had never seen before. I'm a professional podcaster.
You got this.
At that point, I wasn't really thinking much of it. Quote, at that point, I wasn't really thinking much of it because why would I ever think that I was banned from flying? Then the employees didn't seem concerned at all as she explained the situation, made a call to resolve the issue, and then she waited as they were on the phone for a while and then got off. Quote, that's when they were so uncomfy. They were like, we actually can't check you in. You've been permanently banned. She said, of course, I very genuinely don't know why. I'm very confused. I'm starting to tear up. She asked, why have I been banned? They wouldn't tell her. They told her, you should know why.
Wow.
Which she thought was the craziest thing to say.
Yeah.
She called customer relations, which would also not reveal the reason for her ban. To make this shorter, she has been permanently banned on American Airlines because she's accused of having sex with a man on a plane. So the Mile High Club is why. She's a lesbian. She absolutely did not bang a dude on a plane, but you can't prove a negative. And she's been...
Yeah, if someone says prove you haven't fucked a guy on the plane, saying you're a lesbian is a pretty good defense, if any.
Oh. If I ever get
pretty hot butch lesbians out there, though. Is that the source of the confusion? Did she fuck some hot butch lesbian?
Oh,
maybe it was mistaken gender identity. So anyway, she's like trying to figure this out. She's working on getting reinstated on American Airlines, which I don't know. After that, I think I would just like not fly with them anymore. But I understand that's not how life works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, she's filed a complaint with the Department of Transportation and is a developing story. Kyle will figure it out.
Yeah. See what happens.
Yeah, I just thought it was really funny that they're like, you banged a dude on a plane, and she's like, no, that's not me.
Super lesbian.
I'm totes a lesbo. Anyway, that's the news.
That's the news. Speaking of people that are totes lesbians, I want to thank the following new Patreon members. Thank you to Allens.
It's Alon.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
There are like not enough vowels in that name.
No. Thank you to Saulo Nunez. Thank you to David Daubert. Thank you to Friel Michael, and thank you to James Evans. Thank you for your support. If you want ad-free episodes a day early, if you want bonus content, bonus episodes, a bunch of stuff to use Mike's hole, people haven't done that in a little bit, go to patreon.com/Gayish podcast.
Do it. Okay.
I love all these pauses like we're being edited.
That's a pause. That's a pause because that's where the ad break is. So we pause for a couple seconds so that then ads. So if we have ads live, they just ran. So welcome back from the ads.
Welcome back from the ads, everybody.
Do you want to do Q's and A's?
Well, no, we're gonna talk for a little bit first.
Oh, okay.
So this was Derek's idea, who you can see on the live stream. Normally he plays a behind the scenes role, but he's here with us today. But he's like, it's our 400th episode. I'm a comic book nerd. Let's do Fantastic 400 have fucking Dan back. So we've had the history of Gayish Media LLC. We've had two employees, fucking Dan and Derek, and so they're here with us, and we open it up. Anybody can ask questions of any of us. So
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah, welcome back, fucking
I should have
Dan.
known it was neither of you that wanted me back.
It was me.
It was Derek. Derek's idea anyway. No, we've had on our list for a really long time now, like have fucking Dan back. At one point we were like, let's have the entire polycule back, and it's definitely like people are interested. They're like, what happened to him? So
It's so big now, there's people in it I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who don't know you.
Yeah.
Do you have a map? Is there like who's in charge? Because at my New Year's party, Cody drew a map that I still have, and that's like several years ago now, and it was complicated enough at that phase.
Yeah. For a long time it was just a line. And then it started branching, and now it's like it's a lot.
And now it's like Mpox, and now it's
Oh God, I don't love that comparison.
Oh, am I doing that thing where I don't
Yes.
stick your sock in my mouth?
Yep, exactly.
Quite enough?
Exactly.
Yeah, get up on.
No, you're good. You're good. I might turn you up. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm a mumbler.
You're not a mumbler.
Mumblecore.
Derek?
Yo.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Great.
Thanks for putting this together. Really appreciate it. You've done a lot of work compiling and collating and printing and...
Well, Kyle did the printing.
Well, okay.
Yeah, asshole.
You said you wanted to go first. You're going to go first.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask the first question.
What's the first question?
So, what is the history of Gayish?
Oh, okay.
So, this comes from Umaha, from Discord, Jeffrey Allison, several of our other newer listeners who have not heard this story. How did Gayish start? How did you and Kyle meet? How did you come up with Gayish? How did Dan and Derek come along?
Yeah.
Oh, the history of everything.
The history of everything.
Yeah, we were so every quarter we have a Patreon happy hour Zoom call, and somebody on that call was like confused, like not knowing who fucking Dan was, and that made me realize that like we get new people who listen all the time who might not know the shit that we think is painfully obvious,
Yeah.
or that we've covered a whole bunch of times. So it all bears repeating, I suppose. Kyle and I, we can't beep live, Kyle. What are we going to do?
We met because we both worked at Beep. Great. Good audio right there. We were both in the employee resource group for that company, the Gay Employee Resource Group, and we were going to an event, and someone, I needed a ride. Someone that was like the membership director was like coordinating rides and just said, hey, there's this guy that lives by you. He can give you a ride. So I first met Mike because I walked into his Jeep randomly. I opened the door of a stranger's car and got in and said, take me for a ride, sir. I didn't say that.
Yeah,
but,
no, you didn't.
but I believe on our first interaction, I learned about your recent divorce. I believe that was one of our first conversations.
I mean, the first divorce, for those of you who are playing along.
The first divorce. But then we became friends after that and just started hanging out. We lived across the street from each other for a year.
A hot minute, yeah.
But then, we became friends, started hanging out. And then we decided to do a podcast because I think we often had conversations about some of the things that we talk about on the podcast, like sometimes not feeling like we were the right kind of gay, or that we were doing something wrong or different or weird.
All accurate.
We are. And I had just been introduced to podcasts, and I don't know how it actually came up, but I feel like we were talking at the bar once and brought up the idea, and then we just kind of made it happen from there.
Yeah, I mean, you had done like some writing. You'd done digital shorts before that we would film, and I would work on the crew for those. I could have a voiceover for you once, and helped you write some jokes for a script you had once, and held like I did the snap the board thing, which did nothing, but like I felt very important. But we liked working together, doing like creative stuff, and thought, hey, why don't we try doing something creative? And this was one of the ideas that got thrown out there. So here we are.
Yeah.
And I don't know, at some point we were like, we started out doing this thing like just for us. Like it was, if we have 50 people listen, we thought we had made it.
Yeah.
And, it just sort of kept snowballing in the hottest way possible. And so then up to episode 100, fucking Dan and I worked together at a company we don't beep. I don't know if we can say it or not.
Think of a company everyone hates.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And but we worked together, and he was a listener to the podcast and then would call in corrections. Like
so many corrections.
Yeah.
And enough that
starting I think at like episode 35, I started calling in corrections of how things were pronounced or factual errors.
Yeah, exactly right. And it became like, oh, we have another voicemail from fucking Dan, and thus fucking Dan was born. And then eventually fucking became a different adjective than
It's interchangeable.
You
never know which one someone's means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We needed help for our 100th episode to like coordinate between were we doing
we did Q&A
drinks?
While we did 100 Club.
Yeah. So we had fucking Dan there to help coordinate, and that got him started kind of like working with us, and eventually we were like, we need help from someone else. So then we hired him, and he worked for us for a little bit.
Yep, exactly right. exactly right. And then
It only happened because someone else backed out at the last minute.
is that true?
Yeah, Chris Bola was supposed to do the questions for the 100th episode, but I was living in your guest room and he backed out, so I jumped in.
That's wild.
I didn't remember that.
I didn't remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, because in the chat, by the way, if you are on the live stream and you want to like interact, feel free. We are reading the comments, and but AE said it's always weird to hear the history of Gayish and to think about how much of sheer chance was involved. There's a universe in which Gayish didn't happen, and I'm not as happy in that universe.
Aw.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
And another thing, apparently, because.
If Chris was more dependable, I never would have been part.
True story. And then I'm trying to remember about when like, do you remember what episode you left the show, like when that was? It was
February.
Yeah.
Year.
Sure.
Some year.
Sure.
If I do, let's see, October of 2023, and then was it February 2022? Maybe.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
And then we posted and announced an application for Dan's replacement, and Derek applied. He's one of the handful of people that applied to it. We did interviews and we liked him, and so we picked him. And so we didn't know you beforehand.
That's
but
kind of a lie.
what?
I knew both of you before.
Really?
Yeah,
Hadn't you guys gone on like a date?
kinda. Yeah,
We went on a date?
totally.
Oh my god.
It wasn't like a date.
Your memory has not gotten any better. I see.
No. I was like just getting into podcasts myself during the pandemic, and I was looking for new ones, and I was like, oh, a Superman logo. I'll listen to this one.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's how I started listening. Didn't know you were in Seattle. Eventually found you on Instagram, and then I asked you to go grab coffee because I was like, I need to meet people, and you and I went and had coffee for like a couple of hours at the place under your apartment.
That's right.
Did you forget
Yeah.
about that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And then after that, I was binging Star Trek, and I saw Mike on Grindr, and I started talking to Mike on Grindr all about Star Trek. And then you guys posted, and I spent a long time being like, should I apply? I'm not gay enough to be on a gay podcast.
Ooh.
And I had a lot of like
uniquely
reservations.
qualifies
I
you
was
to
like,
be on this
I'm nowhere
podcast.
near as gay as Dan was. How do I how do I step into those shoes, right? And so I eventually applied, and here I am.
Here you are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Turns out I was too gay for gay. What am I doing wrong now?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I'm just wondering if we're pointing the part of the hot fun part of the microphone to your face.
You should put the cum stain lined up.
No.
Everybody, my life is in shambles because of all of the moving, and I could not find enough equipment for the show today. So, because
So we're using a sock as the mic cover.
which was initially my seat. I was going to sit next to Kyle, but then the cables aren't long enough to get the camera far enough away that you can all see us. Oh my God. You don't need any of this information.
No,
but
this is not important information.
History of gay today.
Well, I mean, if there's no more history, it goes right into our next question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what's the
Right.
next question?
Great.
So this comes from Cy Signy. I don't know how to say it. And Joe Stossel. They want to know what goes into a weekly show. How the fuck do we do this every week? What's our process?
Oh, I mean, process is a strong word.
It's a strong word.
Well, let's see. We have a document that has all of our show ideas on it. And actually, fucking Dan made most of that structure that persists.
Yeah, process. There's some process because I created some fucking process.
True story.
Yeah.
But we have episode ideas, and they're categorized into rough categories because we do try to not just be one note in terms of,
Sticks.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Which, partially because there's like a 15% increase in listenership when we talk about dicks or butts.
But I assume we wouldn't get that every time. If we did every episode was like dicks and then butts and then cum and then jizz and then orgies and then, if we did every single episode, I don't think we'd get that.
Be
So
the boys who cried come.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Give the people what they want,
Yeah.
but sometimes what they want
They don't know what
is
they want.
anticipation.
Yeah.
So we have a production meeting. So it hasn't always been this way. Patreon has been very helpful actually as a structure that we have to follow. Partially because Patreon listeners get all of our content a day early, and that means that there has to be a day that we consistently come out so that we could be early.
Yeah.
Anyway, we record on Sundays. We always record on Sundays now, with some exceptions. It's usually because I'm out of work.
Usually I'm out of work.
Usually because I'm out traveling for work, and. But yeah, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. usually is our production meeting where we go over the plan. And that includes, who are the guests that have reached out to us? What is our calendar look like? We go over sometimes like feedback. We go over Patreon stuff. We go over we have a full on meeting. It's boring as hell.
Does it still start with, did everybody take their meds?
No, we've forgotten to start that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I forgot last week, actually. It was,
You did?
Yeah. One of the things that we do as part of that meeting, though, is we make sure that we have the next 4 episodes planned out. There was a time when we may or may not know what our episode topic was going to be when we showed up.
Yeah, that's true. And then we'd be like, okay, like let's go now each research it separately for like an hour and then come back. I think, I needed like for a little bit, I couldn't mentally handle doing it separately. I just needed the accountability of like going there and deciding and researching. Yeah, I forgot that. Now,
and then I clawed my eyes out and demanded some prep.
Yeah. So that stuck around.
That too.
But yeah, I mean, we've also reached the clip now where like, I know that Kyle's going to talk about studies. So if any of my like research tendrils start finding like studies, then I'll steer away from that. Similarly, Kyle hates history, but even if he didn't hate history, he knows I'm going to talk about that.
I start to like read something like in 1960 something. I'm like, oh, nope, not going to do that because Mike probably will talk about it in the history.
Yep. And then like Reddit, I stay away from forums usually, like Reddit or Quora, because you do that. I'll often come up with a game or something. Yeah. It just really depends on the topic. And then like clockwork, we have a whole checklist. Derek takes us through all of the stuff that we need to do and remember, and then kicks us off, and we do our thing. It's different when we have guests. We try to start the show and do the news and then get to the part where we take a break before they join us. So usually we'll start recording a little bit earlier, like 1:30 or so, and then the guests will join us at 2. But yeah, that's roughly, I don't know, was that sufficient granularity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. I followed.
Well, you work here.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
All right, this next question.
Okay.
Comes from John McDonald, Joe in Dallas, Jacob Rossitano, Stuart Brotherhood, and Rudy Morales. So I feel like I have to ask it.
Hi, Stuart.
It's kind of a compilation of things, but it's what topics would you redo? What do you regret? What was something you'll never do?
Never do threesomes.
Never
do again.
Yeah. Threesomes has been retired.
Yeah.
For sure.
What is something we'll never cover? I don't know that there's
10-inch dicks.
Oh, because
we have on the episode list interview somebody who has a 10-inch dick. And I'm like, that episode's never going to happen because they don't exist.
I feel like we had an idea for you to hook up with a sex worker and then interview them on the show, but I feel like that may not happen.
That may not happen. We'll see.
We also had an idea to do a follow-up of your like app. We did an app makeover where we looked at all your apps and gave feedback on the pictures and the text and everything, and brought in a couple experts to help us out with that. And then we were going to do a follow-up on that, but you're not on them anymore. So you're not using them. So you don't need...
I am on them. But
you are on them. Okay, well then, but can we do...
Not for dating, just for sexing.
Well, you still need feedback on...
That's true.
Maybe we could review them again.
Also, one of the experts gave Dan a migraine.
Because why?
Like psychically?
It's her
perfume, so much perfume.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a fun little behind the scenes tidbit.
Yeah, there you go.
I have chronic migraines, and one of the triggers is gross perfume.
Any that we regret? That was a question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I regret any of them. I don't think. Maybe the fashion episode.
See,
It was so bad.
I think I like the fashion episode because it's clear that we don't know or care about fashion. Like, that's the point. We didn't do like, here's an amazing episode showcasing the latest and greatest in fashion trends, and that's reflective of our attitudes and
It's
interests.
like one of the gayest topics, and like you guys struggled to find connections to it being gay, and I was like,
Yeah. That was season 1 too, right? It was pretty early.
very on brand.
Yeah.
How about you, Derek? Do you regret any of
Do
the
I
episodes
regret
you've worked
anyone? No. But I don't have to tie my name as closely to it or say things inappropriately or regret, later on, except for that one episode.
You did.
I did
the
U-Hauls.
episode on U-Hauls.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did great.
Yeah, and I regretted everything I said. I'm like, oh God, this is recorded in history. I can never run for president.
I think you sounded great and you were funny and
Great.
interesting. I think you were great on it.
Great.
Grab him by the pussy.
Too bad that date didn't work better. Like, man, that works well. So that goes into our next question. No, you're not. Okay.
No.
It's not your turn anymore.
No. Oh,
I thought we were taking turns.
great.
Yeah? No.
You just dom-topped me. into
We're
it.
we're flip-flopping here. Let's take turns.
I thought we were supposed to take turns.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to ask some group questions, but we can do more.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Ask one.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So I have a whole section on sex and dating, and this is for everyone.
Okay, great.
How does someone get into your pants? This comes from Jacob Rossetano.
Me?
This is open.
you were-
open.
okay.
I just for all of you. What's the fastest way for someone to get into your pants?
Fucking Dan, why don't you start?
I mean, usually they pull the back down. They just want to get straight to my ass.
Great. they unzip your ass. You like the
Oh, so
zip?
I do have some shorts that have a zipper from the back seam to the front seam. That's very handy.
Very nice. For me, like, you probably got to be on Sniffies. We will. I want, unlike probably what Mike thinks, I like a little bit of conversation and build up. I don't want to jump right to like, hey, let's fuck. Okay. I want a little bit of like conversation lead up and understanding like what you're into and what you like. I need to see a face picture. A lot of people on Sniffies have dick pics, which good for you, but I also want to see your face. Maybe a couple angles, so I get a good sense of what you look like.
Also, if they're in a couple.
In a couple, that helps. That's ideal. 2 for 1 special, always ideal. And then like I need a little bit of like textual foreplay, and then but not too much. And then I want to host, so you got to be able to travel, and we got to be like have alignment in kind of things that we're looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not that hard to get into my pants.
A couple beers. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it takes for you.
Easy.
I'm definitely a face guy, so that's important. Both pictures of and then like you talk to me with it
Yeah, you want to like get a drink before, right?
if I can.
Yeah.
That's preferable.
Yeah.
It's just all about safety. That's the thing. Like I just want to feel. Don't make your face at me like I'm.
I was making a face to Kyle about you.
Okay, that clears it up. It's mostly about safety, right? Like I just need to have a vibe of a person beyond something purely digital to trust that I'm not going to get axe murdered, which I know is my anxiety, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I just compensate for it by assuming it's a foregone conclusion that I need to meet them in order to have fun. So I push for that. But yeah, have a cocktail or two and just be I don't know, charming or whatever, and then my pants will come off.
Yeah.
It's great.
Derek,
I have to answer these.
you have to answer these too.
Well, typically you will not do it if you send me a whole pic or start with any nude pics. I need to have a conversation with you,
Okay.
and that's about it. As long as you
That's
can,
all.
if you can hold a conversation and I find you attractive, it's fine. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to get into any of our pants. No one had like.
Gayish.
Now, there's sort of an implication there asking about type, which I suppose is worth talking about. Like, that's more about approach than type. I think, I don't know, I have a pretty wide array of types, as long as they're
25 to 29.
25. I do tend to date and fuck younger.
You skew younger.
Yeah.
Your demographic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Target market.
True story.
Yeah.
Which you tend to skew older, right?
That's the ideal.
And-
But actually, I mean, now it's all over the place. For hooking up, for dating, my preference would be an older guy. But for hooking up, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm all over the age ranges.
Same.
I feel like you got to have either a cute face or a nice body. One of the two.
Okay. ¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ideal. That's the dream. But at least one of the two
And we've
gets you there.
We've said before that you would hook up with a pair of disembodied arms if they were big.
Go for sure. I mean, there's
Held together by a backwards baseball cap in the middle.
yeah, and just a
It's like
floating.
Geodude.
dick.
like Geodude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do you play Pokemon Go?
I used to play Pokemon Go.
Would you start again if it meant we could be friends?
Probably. Daddy just texted me the other day, and he has moved to the East Coast, and he is getting his bearings in his new town by playing Pokemon Go.
I love it.
Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Okay, stop the show. How's he doing?
He's really good. So he
He was on the Daddy's episode.
yeah, he was on the Daddy's episode. We are no longer dating. As of about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, we decided to transition to to no longer dating. He is still with his other partner, and he kind of moved his way up until he was managing the props department at the kind of one of the bigger local theaters here in Seattle. And then he just got a gig at doing the same thing, but at a theater just outside of New York, technically in New Jersey. But he will be working with Tony Award-winning actors and just like living the dream.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm proud of him and excited for him, and I'm gonna cry if I say I miss him.
Oh.
Yeah. And we got to bang one last time before he left town, because we didn't, from the time we transitioned our relationship, we decided to go platonic, and then
Yeah.
right before he left, we're like, yeah, let's
Great.
let's revisit that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. Also, it can't be an episode with Dan on it without some crying. Okay. What do we do?
You ready for another question?
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. This comes from a combination of questions from Chris Thomas and Kelly. How do you say her last name? Emus?
Kelly Imus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the
I know that bitch.
What's the most guys you've had sex with in one setting? How many partners have you had in your entire life, roughly? And how many of them were listeners?
Oh, God. You can read the rest. The rest that she...
And we know who is responsible for the majority
Yeah,
of the listener sex, that is. Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, Yeah, what's the...
Can you repeat the question?
That was a lot. There's a lot going on
Yeah,
there.
right?
Is that for all of us?
Yeah, for
Which,
everyone.
by the way, Kelly has the same birthday as the podcast.
Aw.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the most amount of people you slept with in one setting?
Of just two others. I'm super sheltered. Three is the most, including me.
Yeah.
My last birthday, I think there was over 40 guys.
Good for you.
But I didn't fuck all of them, but we were all like fucking in
yeah.
the same room and
Yeah.
interchanging. And I think I got fucked by a dozen plus that day. No, this year I turned 50, so I'm hoping that if I can take 50 loads for my 50th birthday, that would be great. But
Oh,
Proud of you.
I love that so
Yes.
much.
what a theme. I think maybe 6 total. Were there 6 of us? 8 of us? Something like that.
All right. I'm 4.
More.
Yeah, it was just the one time.
That's respectable.
my
Yeah.
ultimate birthday.
Yeah. And then Just a lifetime number, rough estimate.
I'm gonna say no to this one. I don't.
Zero? Is that
sure? We'll go with 0. I don't know my number, nor do I want to.
There's a whole chapter about this in the book that comes out in February, and the publisher doesn't want us to give away the content, so you're gonna have to wait and buy the book to find my number, because my number's in there.
Put the number in there, right?
My number's in there.
Because you track it on a fucking spreadsheet.
I have a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
is a fucking spreadsheet, huh?
a fucking spreadsheet. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know your number, Dan?
The limit does not exist.
No.
Great. So far we have 0 question mark. The limit does not exist, and read my book.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the book. I didn't know about that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
happening?
It's just it just went to the printer this week.
Yeah.
We have to pick a cover, actually.
Oh.
We still owe them a response on which of these covers do you hate the least, because I hate all of them.
Great. How many of them have been listeners?
How many of them have been listeners?
Has any of yours been listeners?
Yeah.
How many?
Wait, relationships or just sex?
Just sex.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, nobody I dated and was having regular sex with listened regularly. Maybe just.
Does it matter if I knew that they were a listener before versus them telling me afterwards, oh, I've heard your podcast?
Oh. I'm going to say sort of 2 that were knowingly. Maybe.
I've only had 1, and it was when he was leaving. He was like, "Oh, I was at your live show in Seattle." It's I'm glad he didn't say that before, because I would have been not.
That's true. And what if they became a listener afterwards?
I was going to say, I've never slept with the listener, but I do promote our show. Sometimes I hand out stickers.
See, I love that Derek is trying to sleep our way to his top. No, he's topping our way to the top.
Yep, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. Mike, how many listeners have you known they were listeners and you hooked up because of that?
How many listeners have you known they were listeners, flown across the country to hook up with them, and then hook up with them?
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was averaging 1 a year for a while. It's been a slow year or 2. But yeah.
You heard that, folks.
Shoot your shot with Mike.
Apparently that's one way into my pants. Or it should back up to an earlier question.
2 cocktails.
2 cocktails and listen to my show.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm embarrassed. A non-zero number of them it started out with, "It's not 10 inches, but what do you think?"
Oh, that's a good opening line. If you have a big dick, hit Mike up.
Absolutely.
I'm going to make an announcement.
Oh.
So we just posted to our Patreon today.
Oh, this is great.
A commentary track for our first episode.
Yep.
So Mike and I sat down, listened to our first episode, and then stopped and talked about it throughout the episode to talk about what we thought about it, what we thought about our opinions back then, what we thought about the audio quality. It was bad. What we thought about just everything, the very first episode. So that is, if you go to Patreon right now, it's at the $5 and up level. That level, you get all the bonus content, like bonus segments and episodes, but you'll now also get a commentary track of our first episode.
Yeah.
If only you'd thought to put a sock over the microphone back then.
Right.
Like there was a microphone back then.
There was one microphone on the table, so you hear the squeaking noise of the table, of us touching the table and moving it.
Yeah.
So that's fun audio. Yeah, we have higher quality audio on the commentary that we're giving, so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check that out at patreon.com/gayishpodcast.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun to go back down that memory lane and see how far we've come. And,
Spell come.
I'm going to ask Dan a question now.
Great.
You ready for this?
I am.
That's all I need.
Rudy Morales asked, "Do you still have your sex dungeon? And have you made any cool improvements since leaving the show? If so."
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I don't. I think it was the main room was finished when I left the show. I think I have since built a second room that is roughly twice as big to add to it, and framed out all those walls and insulated and drywalled, and it is now like it's a gym on one side, and then there is a portable sling, like a spit roasting sling.
Wait, hold, please.
Yeah.
What is a spit roasting sling?
It's like a low sling that's it's like a freestanding frame. You can get it on Mr. S. Freestanding frame, low sling that doesn't really have a head. You basically, like, your ass is hanging off one end, your head's hanging off the other, so you can get spit roasted or Eiffel Towered or whatever term you like to use for having both ends filled simultaneously.
I mean, just like if you're getting spit roasted and they high five, it's an Eiffel Tower, right?
Yeah,
yeah. So great.
So are you on your
term.
stomach, like laying down? So you're
No, on your back.
on your back. Okay, so you're okay.
Which is better for taking a giant dick, like, because it straightens
Yeah.
out your mouth and neck hole alignment.
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
CPR right there. Yeah, so that's the yeah, and then there's a big massage table in there too. So there's plenty of places to get fucked, and that's how you fit 40-something people in a orgy for your birthday.
God, I love this for you. You're my idol.
Oh, and you know what else has turned 50 this year?
What?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So my birthday theme this year will be Dungeons and Daddies.
Oh.
Excellent. Are you inviting all of the daddies that you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's excellent.
Nice.
Is it a costume party?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Do you have like a mythical creature you most want to get banged by?
Oh. We'll have to come back to that question.
Great. Will it have tentacles or not?
Okay, I'm gonna ask Derek a question.
Oh my, okay.
Derek,
I'm ready.
do you
Thank you. At least one of us is.
Derek, do you have a background in production? How did you end up on the Gayish team? Well, we kind of talked about that, but do you have a background in production? This is from Umaha.
Yeah. Great question. A long time ago, I worked in television news, so I did that for 8 years. I directed live TV news in Eastern Iowa. I ran audio board, did graphics, and all that shit. Then I went and got my MBA, and now I work in tech. So part of coming back to Gayish was like, hey, let's do something creative, and like I miss doing some of the production shit. So yeah.
Holy shit, you're the first person that's qualified to be working on this podcast.
Including the host.
Including us, for sure.
That was a given.
That's fantastic.
Great. For Mike and Kyle,
Oh, God.
what quality of your co-host do you most wish you possessed? From Joe in Dallas.
I know this is not the spirit of the question, but beard ability.
Oh.
I would very much like to be able to do that, and I cannot. I tried during the pandemic, and it was universally reviled, and even by me.
But at least you gave it a try.
That's true. That's true.
You can never say that you didn't try.
That's true. That's true.
I appreciate Mike's level of like self-assuredness. Like
God.
Mike knows himself and likes himself, and I wish that I wish that I liked myself to the level that Mike does. Like not in an overconfident way, but just in a like I like who I am. And I like the things I do, and I like what I like. And that's very respectable. I think more people should have that quality.
I'll give a serious answer. No, that's not about his beard. I really like how thoughtful you are, Kyle. I think you're super thoughtful, and you do things with care usually, and I appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, this next one is for you too as well. Have you ever gotten into an argument that almost broke up your friendship?
I don't think so. What?
No.
You had a face that said there was one.
Well, this is the danger of live whateverness of like you took a few weeks away from the show,
Yeah.
and we had a argument during that period of time. It was understandable, and it didn't. I don't think threatened our friendship in like a fundamental kind of a way, but like think that's the closest that we've come to like having a relationship changing transaction or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that, so I was.
Yeah, you can talk about that. I don't remember that portion of my life is like a bit hazy. What was the argument, or like?
It was about that we'd had like 2 or 3 conversations in a row in which you felt that I was prioritizing the podcast over my care for you as a person and a human who was going through a lot at that stage, and that was valid. That's absolutely what was happening, and then tried to pivot and make up for it, and we had a great conversation where you took some time away from the show and I carried on, and then we got it back together. But yeah, there was definitely a like you felt, I think, devalued because I was so focused on the podcast in the middle of you going through a lot of shit. Yeah. So that's what it was.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, great.
Good times.
Thanks for
Good
bringing
memories.
it down, whoever asked that question.
And if you want to hear one of the episodes that happened while Kyle was on a break, I remember Armpits with Chris.
Chris Agee,
Oh, that was a good one that I didn't want to do.
What's his podcast? They still do that?
We Read Movies?
Read movies.
Yeah, we just did an episode with them. Chris moved to New York, so
that's why I never see him at orgies anymore.
Yeah, he's no longer in Seattle. But we would still work with him remotely if that ever popped up. But yeah, we were on an episode of We Read Movies just recently. I don't know if it's published or not, but we did all of the Eating Out movies.
Yeah,
and needed to round out the series, so we did the last one.
Oh.
Yeah, that question came from Sebastian, so you can send your love and
great.
Thanks, Sebastian.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep. You ready for another one?
Oh,
people are interested in the fact that your beard is more beardy. Dan.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What's your beard routine?
I wake up in the morning and then I try to wet it enough to make it not swept to one side so that I can go to work and be on a camera and people see me and I don't look crazy. And then after I take actual showers, I sometimes put beard oil in it. And I have a person that I go to that grooms it for me, like monthly.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. Well, I don't have hair, so I don't have a barber
that's fair.
that does that. So I have a barber that does my beard. Yeah.
Sweet.
It was also pointed out that I didn't answer the question on the number of people I've slept with.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a great answer, but I think 400 or 500
Oh, okay.
Wow.
ish. I don't know if that's a lot or little for gays, but there I am.
Yeah.
There's an entire chapter in the book about how many people on average we've slept with.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
This one is being forced upon us by my family. I'm
Great.
being texted as we speak.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi, family.
Yep.
Hi, Derek's
so
family.
This comes from my stepmother. She says, "How do you feel you have impacted your community through education, outreach, advocacy, etc.?"
Oh, God. Good question, and one that I never feel like we've made a difference, but then people write in and say they have, so I need to like be able to take a little bit of credit for having an impact. I don't know, Mike, you would be better at answering this.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we do... Okay. First, we are very self-effacing people by our nature. Like, we're very different people, but one of the things that we share in common is that we don't take ourselves too seriously, and that's not just a bit on the show. That's actually who we are as humans, I think. And so impacting the community just seems like such an audacious, big thing to, like, take credit for, like, it. So I'm struggling with that. If I let myself sort of just go past that and try to come up with an answer, I think one of the things that we do that's super important is show that gay men can be friends and be just friends and be in each other's lives in a really very intimate kind of way that's not physical. And I think we need more of that in the community. And if we have shown that to anybody, I think that would be an impact that I would be proud to have people take away from what we're doing.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the things that we set out to do, which is talk about the ways that we do and don't fit like stereotypes and assumptions, other people say like, oh, I never totally felt like I fit in with insert, whatever thing they assumed they had to be or do or say to be gay. And, someone's actually talking about that thing. So I feel like I fit in a little bit more, or I found a community, like on our Discord, like there's an entire community of people that feel like they found a group that they can belong to. So I think we've created hopefully a space for people who didn't otherwise have a community to find one.
This is exactly why I applied for the job, because at the time it was like the beginning of COVID. I was stuck in my apartment and like not doing anything, right? Listening to podcasts. And this was a really easy way for me to say, hey, what are my skills and how can I do something that helps impact the community in a positive way? And so this came up and I was like, well, they've already impacted me. I can see the impact they've had on other people. So this is how I can then further contribute.
Oh,
you're right. Working here makes you a better person.
Absolutely.
I would say that one of the smartest things you did was to create all the spaces for community, the Discord, the Facebook group. It sets you apart from other podcasts that you have enabled this community to build, where there's like people who know each other from across the globe, and who feel a part of a community that maybe they never felt a part of before. I think it was savvy or accidentally serendipitous. I'm not sure which, but it like that. I think a lot of the success of Gayish has been because you created community. You didn't just keep putting out episodes into the ether.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, thank you. I think you're right. We have tangible signs that that's true too. That like we have multiple weddings now that we can sort of take credit for. And like, wow. It's pretty cool.
When I hear other gay podcasters complain about their lack of success and why is Gayest so successful, I'm like, well, they release every fucking week. And they built a community where people feel a part of the podcast. Yeah. You're not just a listener like in at home and disconnected completely. You're like, you can connect with other people. You can connect with Mike and Kyle and Derek, and it elevates things.
There's too many feelings. Kyle, ask Derek a question.
I didn't cry, at least.
Derek, this is from Joe in Dallas. What is or was the most difficult part of your producing job?
Oh, this is not a hard job. There's not a lot of difficult things here. So I show up, I make pretty pictures in photo. The most difficult thing is fighting with Meta.
This was the last day Derek worked.
Yeah. No, the most difficult thing is fighting with Meta and getting our shit blocked all the time for, posting Nick Jonas in his underwear.
Things that should be totally approved.
Yes, exactly. Right. So that's kind of the hardest thing. Yeah, I think that's about it. Like, this is an easy, fun job, and it's, I don't know, it's hard to think of as a job, too, so.
Do you have to wrangle us in a way that's difficult?
No. You guys self-wrangle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, why do you guys pay me? You guys have your shit together. Like,
all
I do is make Photoshop images and post them and, like, clean your inbox and look pretty for a podcast.
So wait, that relates to another question. How do you stay so fit and hot? It's pretty annoying. That's from Jacob Rossitano.
Well, I stick to a strict diet, watch my macros, and go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And also crippling body dysmorphia.
Really? Well, I got one of those.
I know.
Speaking of jobs, Mike, do you still code in your job, or is it more training and speaking?
Oh, great. Okay. So I work for Salesforce.com. I am in engineering enablement. I moved from being an engineer working in the code mines to teaching engineers how to be better engineers about 3 years ago. And I would say that the teaching and facilitating classes is the lion's share of my job. And the reason I travel so much is that I do a lot of that delivery in person. So I travel to all of our engineering hubs across the globe and do these classes and stuff. I do write code, and the reason is my role is focused on internal engineers, and like a lot of software companies, there's just crazy, non-industry standard, homegrown, fucked up horse shit that's not documented anywhere. And I have to work in that ecosystem so that I can explain to people how fucked up it is and how to make up for the fact that it's fucked up. But every place that I've worked has ever had that, and I've worked at the biggest tech companies in the world. But yeah. So I write a lot of code. It's gone down a whole bunch because my job isn't to ship features, but I still spend probably 10-15% of my time like just trying to accomplish basic tasks inside of our stack, and then extracting lessons from that I then go and teach to people around the world. I have the coolest job ever. I was really worried that I was going to hate not being an engineer anymore, that I was going to feel dumb, that I was losing my edge, etc. And some of that is true, just because I have anxiety about it. But this is the perfect job for me. Most software developers don't care about other humans, are bad at communicating, don't necessarily like to collaborate. I like to say that I was always an okay engineer, but that my career has been because I'm good at communicating and speaking to people. And this is really utilizing all of those strengths, and I think the most fulfilling way that I've ever had in a career. It does take me away from home a lot, and it takes me away from the podcast a lot, and I have guilt about that. But it's pretty cool. What I do is pretty cool.
I need to fact check it a little bit, though. You haven't worked at all of the biggest tech companies.
Okay.
In the world. You've worked at some of the biggest tech companies in the world.
Great. True story.
Fucking Dan.
Fucking Dan. I love it.
Why don't you ask fucking Dan a question?
Okay, I will ask fucking Dan a question. Let's see. So, Stuart.
Hi.
Wants to know, are you still making leather things, and is that going well?
Yeah. So after I left Gayish, I stumbled into a job at a local kink shop, and then made my way into making harnesses and things in the back, and doing leather crafting for quite a while, almost a year. Had to leave that because it does not pay the bills. And so I promised myself when I left that I would, once I could save up a bit, I would start to buy the equipment I needed to be able to do it. Because the thing I really, really miss is, and this is so self-indulgent, but I really miss being out at a club and seeing someone wearing something I made. And in particular, if they like recognize me and come over and like, oh my God, you made this. I was at the Eagle one time and someone was fucking a guy up by the pool table and like looked over and saw me, and he's like, you made this
While he was fucking
while
the
he was
other
fucking a guy. Yeah. And that like that moment is magic. And like seeing Derek pop up on Massive's feed wearing the like super custom
my
one of a
awesome
kind-
Superman harness. Yeah.
Superman harness. I was like, he finally found a chance to wear it, which
Absolutely.
I'm stoked about. And like, it was great. And weird hand signals are happening. And I don't know what it is, but
He just wants to know which alcohol I
Which
want.
drink Mike wants?
so rounding out to the actual question, I did just buy a whole bunch of stuff. I made myself a harness that I wore down to Dory Alley at the end of July. I've got some more leather that I'm going to be making myself a harness, and then sizing my newest boyfriend up to make him his first leather harness. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's great.
Similar question, also from Stuart. Are you still baking? You were doing culinary school for a while.
Yeah.
People love your Instagram, but so did I, because of all of the like crazy the cakes that you would make.
Yeah.
But, any on that front?
Not as much. I was doing like birthday cakes for people in my life a bit, but it takes days to do that. And the last big one I did was before I started at the job I'm at now, which is a full-time job. It was like a multi-day project to create this multi-tiered cake for Bobby, my boyfriend Bobby's dad's, like, I don't remember which birthday it was, but anyway, like a big birthday. It was a big golf themed cake, and put a lot of energy into it. And that was the last big thing I did. The newest boyfriend is a baker as well, like does a lot of bread and also pastry stuff. So I'm kind of giving him the run of the kitchen.
I bet you have.
All right, Kyle, we should round out our job questions.
Yeah.
How is the new job? And how do you feel about your boss, who is one of my very best friends in the entire world?
Is this a question from you? Someone else?
This is from Jacob Rositato, and I may have edited it.
Oh, okay. Jacob Rositano didn't say it was his best friend. You said it was one of your best friends.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, since anyone can hear and download this, I love my job and my boss. And we'll leave it there. No, I really like my new job. I worked at an agency before this, and that agency was a rough job. It was 4 days in the office. It was 9 to 5 on the dot every day. And just a constant stream of clients needing shit, and working with clients is always frustrating. So my new job, I don't have to work with clients directly. My boss does that, and I think he does a good job at like kind of shielding me from the more like client day-to-day interactions, which is very nice of him. I like what I'm doing. I like my team. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. So very positive things to say about my company.
My bestest friend in the world?
And he's fine. Yeah, no, I like him a lot. I'm getting to know him. And so far, it's funny because like the rest of the team has like a level of intimacy that I don't feel totally a part of yet. So I'm like still getting to know them and getting to be familiar with them, but them like within themselves, like joke a lot and so like their dynamic is really fun. So I'm excited to keep getting to know all of them, including my current boss and one of your best friends.
Fantastic. I'll not say any of that to him.
You can say good things. You can say
Great.
Kyle likes you.
I usually say the opposite. I'm like, oh, he just talks so much shit about you all the time.
Oh, no. Derek.
Yep.
Everyone knows the apps are trash, but if you had to pick on which you would go with, but if you had to pick on which would you go with, and that's from Rudy Morales. Grindr, Sniffies, Recon? I don't know that one. Tinder.
I've learned about Recon recently. I'm not on it. I have a friend who's exclusively on it.
Yeah.
And I met him because I was wearing the Superman harness.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a different story.
That tracks Recon harness.
At Massive that same night.
Oh, wow.
I hate them all. All the apps are awful, and I use them just to pass time. I'm not really a Sniffies person, although I know many people who are. I would probably just go with Grindr just because I use it. Does you guys remember AIM? My old?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I use it like AIM. I'm like, oh, look, my friends are on, and I just message my friends who are on Grindr at the time.
I block my friends on Scruff. I don't want to talk to them.
on Grindr.
I'm not on Grindr because I got kicked off. But yeah, that's interesting that you're like proactively messaging your friends.
I
on
basically
Grindr.
on Grindr just talk to my friends,
Huh.
right? And every once in a while, someone new or like I don't know. Yeah, it's
We've messaged on Grindr since you started working here.
Wow.
Shit, that HR nightmare is what that is.
Yeah. If we had an HR team, they would probably have some things to say about that.
I believe I have Derek's Grindr profile
starred
because it was like I was like, oh, use the picture of him in the harness.
Okay, I have a Dan question.
great.
As soon as I find it. Oh, Bill Chin, aka Random, says, "What Burning Man camp are you with? I'll look for you next time I'm on Playa."
Oh, I have not been to Burning Man since 2006. But was invited to go this year, but can't. So I might be out there at some point in the future, but I can't remember the name of the camp. And I didn't camp with. I camped out in like the outskirts in the like kind of pull up, set up your dome or your thing at like very unstructured back when that was, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Before Katy Perry was going to Burning Man. Yeah. But I do want to get back.
Burning Man jumped the left shark.
Well done.
That's a good joke.
No, I haven't been back, so I know nothing about what the experience is like. I believe it is roughly twice the population as it was when I was going. So I'm excited to see what that's like and do lots of drugs in the desert again.
Nice.
So for those of you on the stream, we are going to let you listen in on Patreon when we do the Patreon segment, which is just going to be more questions because we have fuck tons of questions and we're not going to get to them all. Thank you for your question. Not picking your question does mean that it was inferior, but don't let that go to your self-esteem. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for all of your questions. We just have too many to answer. But I was asked by Derek to make sure that there was time for a rapid fire round.
Yeah. You ready?
I think so, because we said we were going to try to keep this part to an hour.
Okay, great. We'll see how many of these we get through. First one, steam room or hot tub?
Steam room.
Hot tub.
Hot tub.
Oh, are we all doing it?
Yeah.
Steam room.
Yeah. Have you been DP'd?
No.
This week?
No.
No. Have you been a DP? Have you been the P in a DP?
Yes.
Literally my first two initials. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
It's fun. I recommend it.
Yeah, being being
Both,
a P
yeah.
in the D. Yeah, I've been a P, but not a hole.
The thing is, I feel like it's so logistically complicated. It's more for the completeness of it than
100%. Yeah, check it off. Yep.
Dicks of all sizes are great. It's way easier to DP with longer dicks.
Oh, okay. I mean, that checks out. Sure.
Who of us is the most sensitive?
Dan.
Like who cries every episode?
Who of you is most likely to adopt a stray animal? Mike.
I was gonna say Mike because you're already thinking about getting an animal.
Yeah, I was going to say Dan again, though, because he does adoptions.
Oh.
Who of you is most likely to carry on a full conversation with a celebrity and have no idea who they are?
Derek.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who of you is least bothered by negative criticism?
Mike.
Yeah, me.
Who of you is least affected by compliments or flattery?
Oh, I think Derek.
Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'll
You
take it.
like brush off every compliment that you're ever given.
I would say Kyle. You don't internalize them at all.
That's true.
You fixate on the negative and don't internalize the positive.
Yeah.
Work on that.
Yeah, that's true. I had therapy this week, so
Have you used a glory hole?
Define use.
no. We are. Your answer is no. We already
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that. Have you used a
Of
glory?
course. Yeah.
Yeah, no for me. Would you rather train and run a marathon in 6 months or have a sex tape go viral?
Oh, sex tape. Fuck no, I'm not running that much.
I mean, if someone gave me a motivation to run a marathon, that would kind of be nice. I need some external motivation to help me get shit done. So maybe a marathon.
If they had a sex tape of you and they were going to release it if you don't run a marathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's sort of the core of the question.
Yeah.
Would you rather the sex tape be released or would you rather do the work and not have the sex tape released and run 23 point whatever miles?
Thing is,
Yeah.
Jacked Mike was a half marathoner, so I'm like, I could be hot again if I did that.
Okay, favorite food?
Pizza.
Raspberry freezer jam.
Ooh.
Chocolate.
Mustache Boyfriend makes fun of me so much every single time, and I keep doing it anyway. Chicken tenders.
Favorite drink?
Red beer, Michelada.
Rosé.
Anything in a tiki glass.
Great.
Wait, Derek.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite kind of underwear?
I mean, mine.
Jockstrap.
Oh,
A what? What?
Jockstrap.
Jockstrap.
two exist.
Brand or type? Like,
Dealer's choice. It said kind.
oh, I mean, I like a on me. I like a jockstrap. On other people, I'm learning that I have a pretty serious kink for metallic underwear. Like
Metallic underwear. Like
anything-
shiny?
the cut-
You just like shiny things?
shiny. It doesn't matter. Well, the cut it needs to be a close fitting cut. So like a brief or a thong or a jockstrap. But like if it has a metallic sheen to it, I'm soups into it.
All right.
Yeah.
Just commando for me. No underwear is the best kind of underwear. Yeah. Why have that extra layer?
Okay.
Those all came from Stuart Brotherhood, Jacob Prositano, Joe and Dallas, and Sebastian. So thank you for sending all those in.
Thanks
Thank you.
you all.
I want to make one more announcement.
Okay, let's do it.
One more thing that we want from you all is I want submissions for the intro of the podcast. When I say the podcast that, and then something, something, something. I want to start taking user submissions for that. We take user submissions for Gayest and Straightest right now, but I think I want user submissions for that portion. So send in your ideas, suggestions, jokes, hilarious intros, and we'll use the ones we like and credit you in the intro.
Great.
Outsourcing the whole podcast.
Outsourcing. Pretty soon, this entire thing will be outsourced.
Send in your
Outsource our-
segment ideas. Fleshed out as much as
We would have
possible.
to tell
please.
them. We would have to announce the topics ahead. That would take some organization level that we don't have. But yeah, send in your ideas for the podcast. That.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to do Patreon. We're going to wrap up, do Gayest and Straightest, and then we're going to do Patreon. So hang on. There's more show to come. Oh,
We're going to do break shots.
we're going to do break shots.
Yep. Great.
It is a live show and live stream tradition that whenever we take a break, we do a shot.
Yeah.
And this time we're doing Fireball.
It's not a good idea, but here we go.
It's
Should we
never a good idea.
Should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
Oh God. Oh, it burns.
It's refreshing
Delicious.
Did you notice that these don't say cinnamon whiskey though? They just say cinnamon
because they're not whiskey, as
because
we
that
learned.
lawsuit
Yep.
made them figure their shit out.
Yeah.
All right, that was a lot. Okay. God damn it. I don't like that. Okay. So wait, do we have our shit together?
We're still live, right?
We're ready for this? Hi everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna do our Gayest and Straightest.
Okay, but are we back?
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
We're gonna do our Gayest and Straightest.
We're gonna do our Gayest and Straightest, but first, hey Kyle,
Hey, Mike.
I got you something.
Oh,
Are you ready for that?
yeah.
Great.
So this is the Kyle Show.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
We're still here.
Oh, right.
Mike is
It's-
walking over with a roll of.
Oh, Mustache Boyfriend delivered this earlier.
Mustache Boyfriend delivered this earlier.
Oh.
And I actually got everybody something. There's 4 of them, but this is a poster, and it's Gayish 400 with the title of every
Cute.
episode on
Every episode? Holy shit.
Are they in order?
In
They're
order.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow. How did you organize that?
I don't know.
That's so cool.
But yeah, there's one for everyone, and
Awesome.
probably want to get it, I don't know, framed or something. But yeah, here.
Oh,
Don't tell me what to do.
thanks, Mike. This is so cool.
That's amazing.
I will absolutely take a picture of this and post it on the socials at some point.
Let's-
Katy Perry.
Katy
I
Perry.
wasn't around for that. You guys did a good job, though.
Oh,
Oh,
That was my
Let's see.
first episode.
No way.
Yeah.
Aw.
atheism. Q and gay is what we called. Hung for the first. Isn't that the first episode you were with fucking Dan Garlington? I think that was your first episode.
The 100th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was the 100th. I'm just reading random masculinity, bukkake, cool scissoring.
Now, it does mean that this episode has to be called Fantastic 400 because that's what I put on the poster.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, you named it already. Oh, and there are dates like the first and today's date.
Did we decide who was who in the Fantastic Four? You're Mr. Fantastic, right?
Obvi.
Yeah, and Dan is the thing. And then Kyle, who did you say you were? Were you Miss Invisible or Human Torch?
Invisible Girl.
I'm Invisible Girl.
You're Miss Invisible. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay. Oh yeah.
On brand.
Yeah.
Mike, I'll give you what I got you on the Patreon segment
Ooh,
because
okay.
it's far away and I don't want to get it.
So far away. Okay. You ready? We're going to do our Gayest Straightest?
We're gonna do a gay series.
But first,
first,
our website is gayishpodcast.com.
we are on social media at Gayish Podcast.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails, especially if it's your Gayest or Straightest or your idea for the podcast that. Woo! It's 585-5-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply.
How's that fireball feeling, Mike?
Oh my God. Fuck my ass. I don't. think we should ever do that again.
We keep doing it. Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109.
I want to clarify.
What?
So, do you want voice submissions for the podcast? Do you want
No email submissions.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to read it.
Or text them.
Text
in.
them.
Text
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
email. Yeah. Thank
Or
you.
via
for that.
Scruff.
Yeah.
Or send them on Scruff. I
Carrier
did
pigeon.
have a
Yeah.
listener recently, a super hot listener, message me on Scruff, which was very nice. He lived like too far away to do anything about, but it was nice getting
Excellent.
those pics.
Excellent.
Anyway.
Excellent.
Gayest and Straightest?
Let's do our Gayest and Straightest.
All right.
Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay, go for it.
I have to remember what. Okay. My gayest is okay. I was on Sniffies, got a couple pictures from this guy. Was like, cool, come over, and he did. And then when he got there in person, I wasn't that into him, which was like rough. He looked like he
didn't misrepresent himself.
He didn't. He looked like it, but it was like just in person. I just wasn't vibing with him, so I blew him.
Oh, great.
And then
Naturally.
well, that's what I said I'd do. And I hold up my commitments. And my straightest is the interaction I had when I got onto the elevator with this dude. I think he's straight. Because I got on and he said floor, and I said 3. And we didn't talk at all. And then I got off. And that was it was like the most efficient
Got off the
conversation.
elevator.
Got off the elevator, yeah. And then later. No. It was just the most efficient, non-verbal conversation that needed to happen to complete the action required, which felt very straight.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Well, let's see. The gayest thing about me this week, I was in Indianapolis all week for work, Sunday through Friday. And there was somebody on Scruff that was staying in the same hotel as me. And we talked off and on, but never quite made the connection. But then did the wait, I'm at the airport. Why does it still say you're only 400 feet away? We met up at the airport. All we had was wine with Kelly, actually. Shout out to Kelly. But the three of us had wine while we waited for our flights.
Oh.
But I think making a social connection on Scruff is that's pretty gay.
I'm disappointed that you didn't take to the bathroom to...
That's the straightest thing.
Yeah.
The straightest thing about me this week is I drink so many micheladas, so many, everywhere I go, including today. I'm I've always liked them and had them, but it's I don't know, 50% of the hydration in my life these days. It feels like. Derek.
Yep. Oh, my turn, huh?
It's your gayest and straightest time, but don't fuck it up.
Okay. My gayest, I recently joined a gay book club. So I hang out with a bunch of, 40, 50-year-old men who just read a gay smut rom-com book, and we just gab about what happened, and, they drink wine, and we have snacks. It's pretty gay.
What was the latest book you read?
It's called The Charm Collective. I actually recommend it if you like cutesy rom-coms. It made me cry. It was very, very cute. And then my straightest is my key broken my lock.
Oh, no.
And so I went to the Ace Hardware. I got some, the graphite lube and stuff. And I went and took the lock apart, and I got the broken piece out, put it back together, and it works with the copy of the key.
Your lock locks.
My lock locks, yeah.
You bought lube for a purpose to...
Graphite lube, yes.
Yeah,
I would not jerk off with it. Dan?
Fucking Dan.
Oh, that's me. So my gayest, I'm gonna go back to May for this one, and I've been doing a lot of traveling this year, and one of the trips I took was to Chicago, and everyone that I met while I was there went to a bear social thing, went to various things. Everyone's like, "Oh, what are you in town for? Are you in town for IML?" So the International Mr. Leather competition was going on that weekend. And I certainly went to some stuff related to that, but I kept having to say, no, I'm actually here for something gayer. I'm here to see Michelle Williams. Well, I wasn't here to see Michelle Williams. She was terrible in it. But I'm here with a group of 30 guys who all flew to Chicago to see Death Becomes Her, the musical.
Oh.
Wow.
Which was so, it has grinder jokes in
Jealous.
it. It is so funny and so gay and so over the top, unapologetically gay. And the way they handled the the special effects was really fun, and I
Cool.
highly recommend it.
I love
Especially if they recast Michelle Williams.
Oh.
She can sing.
Oh God.
Period.
Hey, that's more than most of us.
Yeah, I can see why Beyonce went out on her own.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Damn.
Zing.
That could be your gayest next week.
My straightest, and I was torn between two things, but keeping it thematic, I guess. Traveling a lot, going to IML, going to Dory Alley, going to DC to see my boyfriend before he headed to Europe, going to LA to see the John Waters exhibit at the Academy Museum.
You're getting around.
So fucking gay. Everything I did was so gay. And the like straightest thing is when you like come back from a trip like going to Dory, where like all I'm doing is like fucking in back rooms, dancing on dance floors with half naked men, like, you know, deciding which harness I was going to wear that day. You go back into the real world, and like even at the airport or like at a restaurant later, like it's very hard to not still have in your brain that like you're just cruising every dude. And like I went to dinner, like Daddy actually, before he moved away, he picked me and the boyfriend up from the airport. We went to dinner to like hang out a little bit. It was right before he moved away. And there was the surely straightest hot bearded big arm dad like serving, like not our table sadly, but like in the area, and I just like couldn't stop gawking, and it felt like the straightness of the space felt like oppressive.
That's amazing.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming back and hanging
for
out with us and answering questions.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for suggesting it, Derek.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
What do you think, Kyle? 400 more?
Oh God, that's so many.
Okay.
Do we have it in us?
Let's look at the time. Thanks,
Wow.
thanks to everybody on the live stream, and thanks to everybody who sent in their questions. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, and I also want to thank our super gap bridgers. Thank you to Locomotive, Kaylee Adams, Kit Oliver, Kobe Gordon, Squaggle, Pip, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crowley, Yost Osel, Jonathan Montanius, Forrest Nail, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Just Jamie, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Kachatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you.
York of Chicago.
Thank
So
you.
I hit up on Scruff, I think, while I was there.
Oh, hey. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. This set from the Chris Kachatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
See you next week. Stick around for Patreon if you're on the stream.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Butts.